Hi everyone, and welcome to another InfraView Spotlight Series. InfraViewing, super excited. Finally got to pin down Shaun Ward after all these years. He's head of cloud innovation at SCC, so covering across hybrid cloud, cybersecurity, modern workplace, and data services within SCC's dedicated hyperscale practice. Hopefully SCC shouldn't need much of an introduction, but in short, operating out of 65 plus locations in the UK, delivering IT solutions in partnership with some of the world's best technology vendors. So, not limited to, but covering cybersecurity, digital workplace, hybrid infrastructure, and much more. Shaun, welcome, mate. Happy to have you join us today. How are you?
Yeah, thanks very much, Tim. So yeah, it's always good to speak to you, and yeah, it's been a long time, known you quite a long time now, but yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Been a really busy year already, and it's like there's just hit the start of March, so
yeah, definitely crazy. Yeah, it seems like the vibe at the moment across the channel, certainly within sort of MSP solution providers, everyone's sort of driving in the right direction, onwards and upwards, scaling up. It's definitely busy times. So yeah, look, when you agreed to do this, I was super excited because I know you've sort of recently joined, and having known you for many years and sort of had the pleasure of working directly and indirectly with you. Look, why don't for the audience give us a quick overview of your sort of career to date, if you like?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, sure. So yeah, as you just said, I'm quite new into SCC. Yeah, this is actually my 6th month just in SCC. So I don't pretend to know every corner of the building in SCC, so it's been really interesting for me to get around the business and understand that business. It's probably going to take a lot longer because SCC, a very large company, and we do a lot of things. Yeah, so that's been really interesting and really good. So, but yeah, I mean, depends how far back you want to go, really. But I really started in technical, kind of what I call doing my time.
Okay.
Started building computers and fixing computers and all that type of stuff, which is really good. But but that was like what 1999, showing my age now. Yeah, that was good. So you get to learn how computers are put together and data and disks and all that stuff, and then moved on through support and support desks and that type of thing. And then I started to specialize in things like Exchange and Mail.
Okay.
Building like Exchange environments and working with customers on Mail and all that type of thing. Then I got into voice and Link and Skype, and then moved forward, and you can see this moving forward here. Then I got into architecture, so helping customers build data center platforms, and VMware and virtualization came in, and how we monitor it through things like System Center Operations Manager and all that other technology tooling. So I moved from there, and then kind of fast forward, because otherwise I'll just be rabbiting on too much. But then kind of moved into leadership, but started to remain technical, which is always a challenge, and I still find it a challenge today. But because there's a lot of technology choices out there, so then moved into kind of the channel. So moved into leadership, kind of managing teams, managing individuals, and managing processes, but still talking to customers.
Okay.
And then more recently moved into kind of the MSP space, so kind of worked for some of the larger MSPs, and now I kind of suddenly find myself as head of cloud innovation. Really interesting for me, because not only do I still get to talk to customers, which is a condition of my role, really. I absolutely love talking to customers still.
Yeah.
And that's a good part of it, but also remaining technical, but also helping the business move forward in their objectives as well. So I kind of developed like a hybrid role for myself over the years. And which is I think really helped me out, and not remained niche, if that makes sense. So kind of I was niche, and then I kind of broadened out, and then found myself here. So yeah, I mean, in SCC Digital, I'm kind of accountable for the portfolio and driving innovation, and really working with a great team. Got a fantastic team around me, and throughout SCC, and everyone contributes into that innovation, and we all march on together, really. So
I love it. Look, and do you know what? I've had the pleasure of sort of seeing you develop and progress throughout your career, and I love the fact that now you're sort of very much in a innovative role. Looking at sort of the whole sort of cloud platform holistically, and looking at all different aspects of what could add value to customers, etc., opposed to, like you said, just one particular area. I think right now it's not one hat fits all. And
No.
I think where you excel in that is you've come from support, engineering, pre-sales, architecture, leadership, and where you're still very much in touch with all the latest cutting edge technologies. Now you can sit there as sort of head of cloud innovation and engage with customers to, I suppose, identify what is the best solution for them, because it might not be the same for another. And yeah, I love that. I mean, that's where we're really seeing a huge amount of value with a lot of customers, and certainly SCC, where instead of just saying it's Azure or nothing, actually, let's look at the bigger picture. Let's look at what's going to work now and what we do put in place, how that's going to benefit and allow your business to scale moving forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said that better, really. It really is outcome focused. You know, we have to, we're kind of technology last, and the technology is a result of the outcome. So, you know, we really have some nice framework in SCC that we approach the customer. We call it the digital maturity model.
Okay.
Where we really look to understand where they are on that journey, and it's not technology that's driving that journey. And we look at, you know, things that are affecting the customer, like, you know, how they've operationalized, you know, how they implement that culture across business processes and that type of thing. And then, okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, there's loads of technology choices and platforms out there across. We've got AWS and Azure and VMware platforms and Azure Stack, HCI or HCI in general. And there's all this stuff. So, and it is confusing our customers in terms of those outcomes, you know, and there's other events happening in the market in terms of, you know, acquisitions across platforms and stuff like this. So, yeah, we really try to focus on those outcomes, and that's really important for us. So
brilliant. Yeah, I love it. Outcome led, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So look, I mean, look, those that know SCC, and I'm sure everyone does, I mean, you're looking at a huge beast of a business, right? And what I want to do today is sort of almost look at your area, because it's from the hyperscale practice, and then from a cloud side, you know, tell me a little bit more about the core focus for the business. Yeah, right now, not necessarily SCC as a whole, but your area, your baby within cloud innovation across hyperscale practice.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, you talk that SCC is absolutely massive, but our area, you mentioned hyperscale there, we've actually kind of rebranded that now to SCC Digital.
Perfect.
So SCC Digital is essentially, you know, cloud services, cybersecurity services, digital workplace, and all the bits in between. So we're really trying to join up that message, you know, and go out to market and solve those business challenges for our customers. But yeah, you're right. You know, I won't talk about the wider SCC because it is just really, really big.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I've got no way near around it at the moment. But yeah, we're really focused on cloud transformation, obviously. But we're also trying to take advantage of some markets right now. So part of my role is to really research, you know, some verticalized areas. So we're making a difference at the moment, and we're a bit of a disruptor in like the legal and accounting finance sector at the moment. And we're making some disruptions around AI. Now I don't want to jump on the AI bandwagon because there's a lot of that going on.
Everyone else is, Shaun.
Yeah, exactly. But we've really started to solve some true business challenges and things like paralegal and you know, accounts and finance and that type of thing. So we're not just going out to market and trying to do lift and shift and you know, move servers around and this type of thing. We've got a real true agnostic view around technology platforms, you know, and we pull it back to outcomes and that type of thing. And we're making some real big headways in terms of observability. So, you know, we do have customers now genuinely at least in 3 places. So that could be their own data center or somebody else's, ours or AWS or Azure or HCI or whatever the others. And they're losing observability. So they're creating kind of dark spots in not just the network, but in their, you know, in their own technology areas as well. So we've developed a real unique proposition that we call Vision. And that's essentially our new way of looking at managed services. So yeah, we're trying to pick some real niche areas, things that we're good at, and things that we can back up with, you know, the wider SCC as well, but also offer that out using SCC Digital and the smart people that we have. So it's a really exciting kind of space for us right now, because we don't just talk to customers about moving tin around and moving virtual machines around and this type of thing.
Absolutely. Those days are way gone, right? Back in the day when it was sort of the old school reseller, we're just selling kit and relying on sort of margin, aggressive salespeople just trying to, sell 1 million mouse mats in one go and make a few pounds. Actually, where it's all solution led, outcome led. I love the fact where you're saying you're now labeling it from a vision point of view, because I was writing a few notes in there, and when you were looking at sort of innovation, it almost sort of rung true of the sort of overall technology landscape, it seems, and looking at sort of, what is the vision of the business now and where do you want to go? So then you can work with them to identify that particular niche, around technology or a solution or a service, whether it be managed services or professional services, right? So is your area more managed services or professional services?
No, so either really. So
okay,
yeah,
cool.
I mentioned this is where I kind of flick between the front of the business and the back of the business. So
yeah,
I mentioned I talk to customers, 30% of my time is essentially talking to customers and helping them with those transformations, helping them understand what outcomes they can achieve. But also, I work with in the product kind of portfolio area as well, in terms of creating and helping to create those products and services, and around that product architecture. So how it happens and how it's put together, and that side of it as well. So I kind of work at both sides.
Both ends.
I spend a lot of time with vendors. I spend a lot of time with our own sales teams, with just to hear what customer feedback is. I spend a lot of time with the solution architects. So I kind of spread myself across the business and dot around a fair bit, because I want this information. I can't.
Of course.
It's not just about us creating something and pushing it on our customers. It has to fit.
Absolutely.
So I need to understand if it does fit, and if it doesn't, then how do we pivot around that? So there's lots going on in the market that drive that as well. Events and.
Absolutely. I love that as well. You're taking the time to understand exactly, what that customer looks like now from a technology perspective, getting all the information to then come up with the best possible solution, right? And looking at, the best ways to set them up for the future. Cool. So we talked about partners and engaging with those customers. What does the perfect client look like for you, SCC, in this particular sort of digital area now? Whether it be size, vertical, or whatever, really.
Yeah, so I mean, again, given the size of SCC, we can cater for most verticals, I would say, and we've got reference cases in most verticals as well. Size, mid market to enterprise, but we never rule out, if a customer's got 100 seats and they want to, not just spend money, but do transformation projects with us, and we've got examples of that as well. We're starting to disrupt in things like virtual desktop and VDI markets at the moment, because there's some disruptions going on around there with current VDI vendors, and we literally, if you take as an example, Azure Virtual Desktop went general availability on Azure Stack HCI on February the 1st. February the 2nd. We were putting together a project and talking to a very large customer about AVD on Azure Stack HCI. So it's, that's kind of getting us first to market in terms of these type of things and displacing. So I guess the point is the perfect client. We've actually broadened that for ourselves because we are flexible within our managed services.
Yeah.
So we can flex our managed services in a modular way or a microservices way. So the customer can give back and take services as they need. So that enables our customers to be more adaptable and more scalable and more agile. And I really feel like most MSPs miss that trick in the market, in the fact that, we flex our services depending on the customer's target operating model. And that's really important, because how do we expect our customers to be outcome focused if we're not flexible in our services? So we really try to, strive to do that in most circumstances. So.
I love that. And that's what you said there. It's not, a particular size or vertical. Actually, it's being able to be SCC being flexible on their solutions and services and approach, right? And then it kind of doesn't really matter about the size or vertical of that particular partner. As long as they're prepared to listen, provide you with the information, you can show flexibility on what you can offer, then, we come up with the best possible outcome for all parties, right?
Yeah, that's really a winning USP for us when we get into custom conversations. It's they really enjoy the fact that we can flex our services and we're not tying them down so much.
Brilliant. I was going to come on to, give me SCC or, your USPs, but yeah, while we've go for it, hit me with it.
Yeah, yeah. So there's one of us that I think our flexibility, and when you're, I won't lie to you, I've worked for a lot of MSPs, and when you're that size of business, it is hard to be flexible and be agile, because it feels like you're on an oil tanker sometimes. Yeah, I think we've got that balance, like, correct, and I think we're able to do that, and I think that's only going to get better as well as we move through the new financial year. So USPs, I think we've got a really good message around. I mentioned at the start, SCC Digital, we're essentially at a high level made up of cybersecurity services and all the things you'd expect in that kind of tower, and then digital workplace, and then again all the things you'd expect in that tower, and then cloud services. I think we've got a really good way of not acting as if we appear as three business units, because we're absolutely not. We're kind of a single business unit with a joined up message.
Love it.
And we leverage the experts across that. I'm certainly not an expert in everything. And we've got really smart people that join up that message. So I think that's a really good USP for us as well, because I know and have experienced that is an issue for a lot of people, for a lot of MSPs. So I think a USP is, we mentioned we don't want to talk about the kind of the SCC, the hardware side as well, but that really is a USP for us as well, because we're able to actually offer the full life cycle. So, if someone's doing an AVD project or a cloud project or a hybrid cloud project, we're able to offer, the hardware, we, through the whole life cycle, right through to recycling that hardware. We have our own recycling center, which I've been through, and they, just shreds all the laptops and whatever else, and it's sustainable. So we've got a sustainability message around that as well. So,
I love what you said there in terms of those three areas: cybersecurity, digital workplace, and then cloud. It's, I've seen it so many times, or heard so many times from MSP solution buyers over my years, where when I ask them what their biggest struggle is or what the biggest problem is, they sometimes come back with divisions not working collaborative enough. They're not interacting, they're not engaging. Externally, fantastic. One area goes out to a business, provides a solution, wins some business, fantastic. But it baffles me how, in those particular areas that you've just mentioned, the fact that they complement each other so well, and a partner could need all three, make it one. Yes, you're going to have different specialists that will lean on, depending on what area you need to talk about at that time. You're going to have a team of cyber guys, team of digital guys, team of cloud guys. But if they're not in sync and sharing that same vision, that same message, and working together to get the best outcome, unfortunately, things start to break down. And I love that you said, because some people might look at SCC and go, massive company, great beast, what is the strategy? What's the vision? Is it joined up? And you're just confirming that right now. In that area, you've got three massive in demand, and what some people might see as niche, but you've brought it together in a collaborative way to get the best possible outcome to provide that ongoing service to our customers. I love it.
Yeah, I do. I love the way we've established that and achieved that, and that moves into our customers as well. I mentioned that our vision platform is essentially managed services.
Okay.
But we don't mind where our customers have those workloads. It could be an AWS, Azure, etc. But we have full observability across all those workloads, no matter where they are. Because we've got some unique tooling that can just essentially aggregate and pull in all that data across all platforms. So we're able to show, full observability across all of our cloud platforms. So again, that's it's a big USP for us. And we kind of drink your own champagne if you like. We do that internally and externally to our customers.
Brilliant. No, I love it. And look, we talked about technology quite a bit already, and the areas that you guys are sort of focusing on delivering. What do you, what technology, do you think will most disrupt the market in the next 12 to 18 months?
I think, when I scroll
Here it
through,
comes.
what's going to hit. I know when you scroll through kind of LinkedIn and stuff, it's just AI this and AI that. And there's an event in London today, right? Technology cloud event, and that's going to be AI focused. I mean, look, I think AI is already disrupting the market, or Gen AI, and there's other obviously iterations of AI going through the market. But we are genuinely disrupting some markets at the moment with our AI kind of capability.
Brilliant.
And that's around regulation and compliance. And we've we've all seen in the news some kind of scary stories at the same time of AI chatbots doing some pretty crazy things and going off. And so yeah, it's a big thing for the legal and the finance sector. So we're working with some customers in that sector at the moment and making real differential changes, because when we think of new ideas to go to market with and build the portfolio, we're not just creating services because we're emotionally attached to technology. We're actually looking at events that's driving these changes. And when I was doing some research in some of these sectors like legal, finance, one of the biggest threats to these industries are AI.
Yeah.
Because their competitors are actually implementing AI. So the conveyancing industry, for instance, is really heading down aggressively at AI, so, and doing all the kind of background work and the mundane work and speeding up the process and this type of thing.
Taking care of all the grunt work.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think it's hard for me to sit here and say AI is not going to disrupt.
Of course.
And because we're actually living, eating, breathing ourselves. We're also disrupting ourselves. So we've got our own AI solution architects here, and they've built our own version of a chatbot.
Okay.
So our sales teams are now able to use an internal chatbot to query their customers and can ask it things like, I've got this customer, what are the top 3 things I can ask the customer to generate a data project or an app modernization project? And it will come back with some questions on how to get them started. And if the chatbot doesn't know, then it will point them in the right direction on who to speak to, like a solution architect or a sales specialist, this type of thing. So we're actually trying to implement it ourselves as well. So it's only version 1, and it's not doing amazing things, but we are leveraging it ourselves as well. So we're disrupting ourselves.
I think that's important though, because look, let's face it, as much as we laugh and joke, AI automation, it's the topic of every conversation right now. But actually, if we don't embrace it and look to how to use it and benefit ourselves and customers, we might get lost and taken over and potentially lose business, right? It scares the life out of me. I don't come from a technical background. As much as I've worked in this space for so long, I'm one of those guys where if someone mentions, right, tap this in here and you'll get the answer, I'm like, am I going to lose that contact with, that face-to-face or that engagement? I struggled with Teams at the beginning, if I'm honest, when it first, dare I mention COVID, but, off the back of that, everyone jumped on Teams and I kind of sort of felt a bit lonely. I was like, oh no, I'm used to going out, meeting customers, engaging with them face-to-face, going out on client site, etc. And it was kind of stripped from us a little bit. But now everyone's just embraces Teams, because I feel that actually there is a huge value around it, because you can just jump on at a drop of a hat, get something done. So I think any business at the moment that is embracing AI and automation internally, they are ahead of the game. But are you guys promoting that to your customers, or are your customers coming to you and saying, giving you their thoughts and views on AI and automation? How does that work?
Yeah, I think it's both. So I was looking at some statistics. It was something like 97% of CIOs have been asked to implement AI, and 100% of CIOs don't know how to. So again, it's going back to our kind of digital maturity model and understanding, okay, there's lots of tools to do lots of things, and AI can do lots of things, but do you really need it? So it's answering the why. Let's fast forward 12 months and imagine you've now got AI doing lots of things. What would you imagine that AI would be doing? So do they even need AI?
Love that.
Do you need AI is the first question, and if you do, then we start exploring. So I think it's a mix of us learning and building and productizing solutions that solve challenges in the market. Because I'm assuming sometimes, and it could be wrong, that if we've solved one challenge for a legal firm or a healthcare firm or a healthcare sector, or a finance company, then another competitor might have the same issue. So then we can start to build this knowledge and these feedback loops. So it's a mix, I would say, at the moment. Is when I'm at a seat at the table with CTO, CIO, etc. it's just when we understand their digital maturity and understand, what's keeping them awake at night, it's a mix of them telling me and then them exploring possible AI and data solutions, and then us coming over the top with that. So right now, it's really good to see both sides of the table,
Of course.
trying to solve that issue.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said there. I mean, it's down to their digital maturity around AI. Will depend on, how far or how much they need it now for their business, right? Like you said, it might be that if they don't need it, by asking some basic questions, why implement something that could overcomplicate it because you're not ready for it? But equally, if they have that understanding and they understand what they need, and I think what we touched on earlier, if AI automation is going to remove some of that grunt work, that day-to-day that engineers, consultants, or leaders can, get closer to that face-to-face engagement or, winning business, etc. Happy days, right? Yeah, I love the fact that you said that. It's really understanding where they're at with their journey around AI before we suddenly just steamroll in and go, if you don't do this, you're losing out. Where actually that might not be the case for 70% of customers, but 30% might be ready, willing, able, completely embracing it. Let's go. And they could just fast forward in front of everyone. No, I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So look, that's, quite a bit around the business. And in terms of, AI and innovation, let's bring it back to you a little bit, Shaun, in terms of your biggest career success to date. Big question.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Where'd you start?
So, yeah, well, I've not always been successful, and I think that's really important. Is I've never been afraid to fail.
Love it.
It's fine. You've got to go and try these things, and you will work for, people will work for companies that they don't particularly enjoy being there for whatever reason. And you might walk out the door thinking you failed and things. I've never been afraid to go and try new things and fail, and I think that's how you do build a success, when you try things
Definitely.
and fail and you trip over. And it sounds a bit cliche, but so yeah. Look, I've been involved in some of the biggest kind of transformation programs probably to date. Around cloud and whatever other technologies across central government and healthcare and this sort of thing. And I've always kind of pulled it back to when I'm working for a customer or on a project, and I deem a success as if I've made an impact, or we as a team or a company have made an impact to someone's life, then that's a success. So, if we've done something for healthcare and for me, the excitement is if we created a service and we took it to healthcare and we saved one life, that's a success.
Love it.
And I've always kind of tied it back to that. And that's how I kind of, when we run in management, and get my words out, in management, I've always said, really, largely, we're not saving lives. We don't really need to stress about our work and our job and, how we measure success and this type of thing, because I'm not a heart surgeon. I'm not saving lives. So,
yeah.
So the success for me is helping somebody else or another company make an impact to somebody else's life. That's how I've kind of always measured that.
Shaun, do you know how refreshing that is? It's so refreshing, honestly. And it's like, because I often ask these questions and they'll talk about, winning this busy project or, building this team, which I think is very successful, and that's valid and it's good to talk about. But you've brought that back, one with, well, if I haven't failed in life, how have I overcome that? How have I learned? How have I dusted it off, the scars and whatnot, and drove forward? I'm a big believer of, a lot of people think A to B, let's get to B as quickly as possible because that's where the gold is. Where actually it's the bit in between that where you learn, fail, overcome, be better. And the fact that you brought that back to what is success for you is the value that you've added to someone, whether it be their career progression, a company, the success. I love it.
Yeah, and it's not really about me, it's or us as a team. It's it's not just about saving lives as well. That's an amazing thing to do. But imagine if we can help a construction company build a new school for 200 children that can educate themselves, or this. We always try to measure it on something that has an impact, and not just a paycheck. It's never been about that for me. And work in general is not. Again, I don't want to give you loads of cliches today, but it's not work. It doesn't really feel like work. This is something I've turned into a hobby. I think a lot of people think that there's work and play. and for me, it's play.
Brilliant.
Like it never really
That's
feels like
that's
a
a
job.
credit to you and, you know, what you've done over the years. The fact that you're passionate about what you do, always going the extra mile above and beyond, always looking to not just provide cloud innovation, but innovate yourself to be better
Yeah,
and be the best version of yourself. Right. I mean,
yeah,
you know, I love that. You know, if you're not passionate about what you do, don't do it, you know, in my eyes, because, you know, who
absolutely.
wants to get up out of bed each morning and do a job that they're unhappy with? Because one, you're only going to dissatisfy yourself and others around you. It's going to become, you know, a toxic environment or whatever. But yeah, I mean, and you're in the perfect role for that. I mean, you know, you're going out there doing head of cloud innovation. You've got to go out there and provide innovative, creative, you know, productive solutions for multiple customers. If you're not passionate about understanding how much value you can add, and how that's going to benefit that business, you're in the wrong job, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to go off as a slight sidetrack there, I do some talking in some schools.
Okay.
And we kind of
Love
go
it.
around the room, and you know, what do you want to be when you grow up type of question, and most of the room says like rich.
Yeah.
and and there's no, you know, my reply to that is, well, what do you want to do for a living? And they say, I don't know. So I'm like, okay, well, you kind of got an awkward position there. So my advice to them is do the thing that you're either good at and you want to do. So if
Yeah.
you're good at playing a guitar, do that as a job. If you're good, you know, if you're good at artists, if you want to ride a horse, you know, you do that, because
Yeah.
if you can master something, you can charge a fee for it.
Love it.
So like money is a byproduct of being just better at the thing that you do and better, you know. And if you think of it the other way around, I just think people go through life doing things they don't like doing to earn money to go on things they don't like doing. And that's just
Absolutely.
madness to
Bouncing
me.
around here, there, and everywhere,
Yeah,
actually not actually feeling like they're part of or providing value, or they don't know what their own why is, right? You know, on that success piece, I mean, I get often asked when I'm interviewing candidates for InfraView, it's like, you know, what does success look like for you know, as an owner of a recruitment company? And you know, I always split it into two areas. I kind of say, look, I've got one personal, you know, when I hear great things about my kids, right? I've got two
yeah,
boys, 16 and 12. You know, whenever I go to the school, the college, or just past people in friends and family, you know, when I mention my children, they go, oh, I had a conversation with Louis, lovely lad, really just, you know, really polite. I'm like, that for me feels like success, you know, proud father moment, feel like I'm raising children in the right way, that other people are going, do you know what, really decent young man. And, you know, and then when I bring it back to work related, as cheesy as this sounds, success for me is seeing other people flourish, develop, progress, be happy in the work that they do, which is exactly what you just said there. You know, if I can provide training and development, support, guidance, you know, and again, with passion and energy for people that work within my business that can then elevate that and evolve as individuals, for me, that's success. You know,
yeah,
I get what you're
absolutely.
saying there in terms of the money, that's the byproduct of providing that and influencing that for others, right? No, I love it. Cool. Yeah, no, look, totally agree with all that. Some great insights there. And sort of moving on to some of, I suppose, those challenging demands around tech. How do you personally handle the demands of some sort of challenging technology that we're, I suppose, using or looking to move to use?
Yeah, so I really back to the previous point, really. I think it moves so fast and so much of it that I really think you have to invest in your own time outside of work
Yeah.
to do research and just read articles and watch videos and all this type of stuff. And I think it really does involve investing in yourself in terms of, like, you know, I listen to podcasts in the car. I use apps in terms of book summarizing. So I
Yeah,
don't know if you've seen that type of thing. So
absolutely.
yeah, just constantly trying to do these things, but I won't lie to you, it's not easy. But yeah, I make a habit of just building that into my life in terms of that. I mean, I'm a tech geek anyway at heart, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
into everything. I'm into everything. I want to know the how and the why and everything. It's just the inquisitive kind of put in personality in me. But I think the biggest one is surround yourself with smart people.
Yeah.
And I do that. I make sure I sit next to smarter people than me, and there are lots of them. So there's we were talking about our AI team earlier. I sit with the guys in that team. I'll go and sit with the solution architects. I'll go and sit with our product architecture team, because they know it better than I do.
Yeah,
They're smarter than me, and you know, I learn a lot from those people as well. So I think
I totally agree. You know, and look, at the end of the day, that falls back to what we were saying earlier, right? Around being passionate about what you do, trying to be the best version of yourself, remain teachable, always wanting to learn. And you know, if you don't continue to do that, you just don't improve. And utilize what's around you, because you know, if there are other people that are better at that or specialize more in that or are able to help and support you, take what you've learned and then hopefully help someone else in that particular area, whether that be immediately or later on down the line. And yeah, I think it's just so important. I mean, you know, there's so much information for us on hand now and free, you know, research, blogs, podcasts, you know, and I always often say to people, whatever you do, if you're passionate about it and become obsessed by it, you know, you're probably going to get off to a good start. You know, if you go into anything half-heartedly, sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it's just going to either take you years to actually become either a specialist or knowledgeable or credible, and then you'll just lose faith and then you'll just fizzle out, and you know, it just won't be, you won't get that self-satisfaction we talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've always tried to learn, especially as I got into leadership, I've always tried to learn areas that are not actually in my area. So I wanted to learn about, you know, how mergers and acquisitions work and divestments and this type of thing. So I went and sat with finance for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I kind of learned about, you know, that's where I learned P&L and bottom line and all the other acronyms that those clever people have.
Yeah.
And then I've gone and worked and done some work in kind of the legal side of it and HR, and just to get this knowledge, not because I'm going to want to go and get a job, but I want to understand and put myself into their shoes in terms of, you know, what they go through. So yeah, it's not that I'm trying to also encroach on people's areas. I'm just trying to literally absorb the knowledge from there. So
yeah, it's just getting an overview of it all, how it all works and fits. You know, you're sitting with a finance team, not to become an accountant or have that experience of the day-to-day duties and responsibilities. But yeah, like you said, you know, if you're in your role and you've got to look at a P&L, having that sort of understanding and knowledge around it, it's only going to complement what you do and also make it just a bit easier, right? You know, so it's not, for instance, in a different language completely. No, I love it. Cool. Okay, good. So in terms of God, this question, right? Advice. What advice would you give to someone that was looking to get into technology or the solution provider space?
Yeah, but I think the very thing we've just been talking about is all good advice for someone trying to get into tech.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, finding a niche is, you know, people start technology paths, career paths in very different ways, but I started incredibly niche and then I went broad. But okay. I do hear stories of people starting broad and then ending up niche. But for the experience I've got recently, and I mentor a few people outside of SCC Digital, they've started niche. So they've found something they really enjoy doing or like the sound of doing. So whether that's, you know, code development, website development, or cybersecurity or something. Again, it goes back to our previous conversation of find the thing that interests you and do that. Don't try and do something because it's well paid, or don't try and do something because it's probably got, well, yeah, money. I suppose money just keeps going back to a lot of things, but following tech experts on social media, make a collection of people and follow them, and see what, you know, kind of what they're up to and stuff. Try to shadow somebody in the industry as well, or, you know, if you've got a friend that works in tech, then literally sit there and kind of try and download their brains and that type of thing. I started doing my own kind of blogs in terms of technology and the things I was doing at home as a hobby and this type of thing. So doing that as well. And I mean, there's people like yourselves, you know, at InfraView, I'm sure you have services where you can help people get into tech and this type of thing, and
absolutely
help give advice around learning. And there's lots of platforms out there that can help you get into technology in terms of accreditation.
Yeah.
So I mean, certification.
So much access.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it goes back to earlier, is find something that interests you and run at it. Don't walk at it. You know, take it seriously and really run at it. Yeah.
Again, right, if you're passionate about something you've committed, then you got to go all in. And we are blessed with so much access to blogs, videos, research, opportunity to get certifications. But yeah, I think surround yourself by like-minded people that work in an industry or have more experience than you, learn off them, and it starts to put you in the right direction. And then you start becoming part of a community where people are sharing ideas and they just genuinely want to help other people that are passionate about the same sort of industry, sector, technology, whatever. And just use what's around you, right, to your advantage to progress as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that will help. That they can help. So yeah, take advantage of it. Yeah,
definitely. Cool. And then look, last question before we move on to some quick fire fun questions. Who do you admire the most in the sector? Have you got anyone in particular that you would
probably the people I admire the most are out the sector in life, but yeah, in the sector,
yeah.
I quite like people who are pushing boundaries, and they're a bit cheeky, and they're trying to do things that are just way beyond what we can conceive to be possible. So I quite like Elon Musk and those type of people.
Yeah.
But obviously it's sometimes a bit controversial, but the guy wakes up one day and wants to send a rocket to Mars. I mean, I love that. Like, I absolutely love that. And he's making proper disruptions in that kind of whole side and many other sectors. So I'd quite like to, if we're doing the go out to dinner, I'd quite like to do that. With Elon. I like people that just want to dare to be, and don't just fall in. I kind of, live my life a bit like that sometimes, in terms of I'm either going to make a big change, or I'm going to go with my tail between my legs. I'm all in or all out.
I love it though. Look, I mean, again, it's like I call it positive risks, right? If we don't take risks from time to time, we're not going to learn, achieve, and hopefully do something really special. And like you just said, if you fail, do you know what? Who cares? At least you've learned something from that, and you've got an opportunity to try and do better next time, right? And you've learned from your mistakes, hopefully. But if it does come off, you're sending a rocket to the moon.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah, and and I can't help but admire like Satya Nadella. He's literally turned around Microsoft, and he's a similar way. I'm not sure he wants to send rockets to Mars or the moons, but he's making some real headway spaces in lots of other technology areas, AI, and Microsoft in general. So yeah, I can't help but admire Satya Nadella as well. So
absolutely cool. All right, Shaun, listen, there's been some awesome insights there, and it's been really refreshing to hear such passion about what you do, what SCC do, the impact you're having on so many customers. Look, I want to finish on some sort of fun quick fire questions.
Go on.
You've already mentioned that I was going to say 3 people you'd like to most invite to dinner. You've said 1. Give me 2 more.
Yeah, so I'm outside of work. I'm a real big MotoGP fan, like motorsport type of thing. So it'd have to be the man himself, like Valentino Rossi,
right? Superstar,
absolute superstar in MotoGP. Probably Elon Musk, who I mentioned there. And then on my other side, I'm a big fan of music. So kind of broad range of music, actually. I'm into everything from, sometimes I listen to a bit of classical, and sometimes I listen to like rock and Muse and Coldplay and that sort of thing. So I'll probably get someone like Matt Bellamy from Muse, or Chris Martin from Coldplay, someone like that. Probably a bit boring, but
yeah, I'll join you with the second one. Cool. All right, I think I know the answers to this. Microsoft or Apple?
Yeah, well, I actually have both. So I have an Apple iPhone. Probably because I think it makes me look cool, but I am not cool at all. But yeah, most of my experience has been with Microsoft. It's hard to, how do you get away from Microsoft in terms of operating systems and all the rest of it? It'll get you at some point. But I really admire where Microsoft have been and kind of grown up with them, really. I didn't grow up with anything else. So it'd have to be probably Microsoft.
Cool. Football or rugby?
Rugby, 100%.
Good man.
100%.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm torn between the 2.
Don't live anywhere near a football team.
Yeah, but do you know what? I mean, I've grown up with a good bunch of mates that have been football crazy all of their life. I've always been rugby. My dad's always been rugby. My eldest is rugby. But yeah, my youngest is football. So I've got a 12-year-old that just, yeah, lives and breathes football, knows every single player for every single team, new and old. I think that's probably down to the Xbox, but yeah, super knowledgeable and just, yeah, if any opportunity to kick a ball about, he'll take it. But yeah, so I've adapted into loving watching him play, but yeah, I'm still not a
Yeah, of
massive
course.
football fan myself personally. But cool. Degree or apprenticeship?
For me or somebody else? Is that
Someone else.
probably apprenticeship, if I'm
Okay.
honest.
Yeah.
I didn't have a degree. I basically just went straight to the coalface, but
Yeah.
I'm sure degrees are handy and useful.
I'm sure they are. God, yeah, no, they definitely will work in certain areas, but yeah, not essential.
Yeah.
Cool. So one thing, whether it be a personal passion or a hobby that most wouldn't know about you.
We're gonna have to do some editing here. What?
Yeah,
Say
yeah.
that again, sorry.
Cool. So one thing, whether it be a personal passion or a hobby that most wouldn't know about you.
All right, got you. Sorry, you broke up.
That's cool.
So yeah, I mentioned, I'm a bit of a tech geek. I mentioned, I think most people don't know that about 7 years ago, I got my helicopter pilot's license.
Right.
As a hobby. Yeah, it's very random, isn't it?
Yeah.
But somebody challenged me to say that I couldn't do it. So yeah, that's kind of the light in the blue touch paper for me. So yeah, went out and did it. But I guess the other half of that is I spent 8 years skydiving in various countries and that type of thing. So I
Wow.
was always around aviation. I was
Yeah,
always
yeah.
around it. So then when I came back to the UK, I decided that I was going to go and learn to fly a helicopter. But I found it quite, not in an arrogant way, I found it quite easy because I'm a tech geek. I understand physics, and I went above and beyond to learn all the intricate parts around helicopters and this type of thing. So yeah, I took it, but I don't really talk about it. Not many people know.
Love it. Well, look, next time I need a lift and I need to be somewhere quick, I'll give you a shout. Favorite technology over the last 10 years?
Favorite technology. So I'm into like health and fitness and that type of thing. So I
Yeah.
kind of use a lot of smartwatches and kind of health devices around that. Favorite technology though, wow, probably goes back to my other hobby, which is I keep marine fish.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm the most
How do I
random
not
guy.
know this, Shaun?
I know I'm the most random guy on the planet. But being a tech geek, you don't look after animals in marine aquariums. You look after water because you've got to replicate ocean water. But now they've kind of launched loads of toys that manage this for you. So for me, that's kind of changed my whole entire hobby in terms of that does it for me, and I don't need to do it anymore. So I know you were expecting me to say something around AI or something, but it will probably actually be related to my hobby.
No, mate, absolutely not. Do you know what, these things here, and I love this. Why I love finishing on these questions, right? Because they can always go a little bit here, there, and everywhere, right? So, cool, okay. And then in one word, best thing about the channel or working in the channel.
One word: fun.
Fun, wicked. Okay, and then a motto that you live by.
Probably lots, but probably the best is if you want something you never had before, you got to do something you never done before.
Brilliant, love it. And then last question: one thing you would, if you had known, at the beginning of your career, what would you have done differently?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, love it. Love it. No, mate, and I mirror that absolutely because look, listen, right? It's one of those ones. It's how we learn and develop and progress. Shaun, mate, literally, that is the end. That has been awesome. Honestly, insights have been fantastic. There are some huge information there for all of our viewers to look at, comment, like, etc. I just want to once again thank you, for taking part in our Spotlight series, InfraViewing. I hope you and the SCC team, continue to have huge success. So for the audience, I hope everyone's has enjoyed hearing such great insights as much as I have. And if anyone has any questions or any comments for Shaun, you know, or any of the content that we've covered today, feel free to reach out, post in any comments, share, like. You know, feel free if, and also if anyone wants to join our Spotlight series, you know, in a similar position to Shaun, please feel free. All of my details are below. Once again, Shaun, you're awesome. Thanks so much, mate. And yeah, catch up soon, buddy.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thanks for inviting me onto the show. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.